This is the scariest cannibalism I've ever seen. He is bloodthirsty and brutal, likes to suck the eyeballs of living people. Anyone who passes by his territory will be hooked away, then gouge out the eyeball. The leftover human flesh eaten raw will be fed by him, and beautiful women, they are put in a cage and eaten. As the number of victims increases, soon someone called the police. 2 police officers received orders come and investigate. Immediately they gently pushed open the door. I saw blood stains on the walls of the house. A scream led the 2 to the bedroom. I saw a woman with no eyeballs wailing on the ground. Disheveled, this is the scene. Poor William, an experienced trainee cop, they were terrified. Suddenly, only Yishin's colleague's skull was cut in half by the butcher. William didn't have time to react. An arm was chopped off. Fortunately, in a critical moment, he shot the butcher. Bullet in the head, the butcher's not breathing fortunately. William survived but also lost an arm. As a result, the woman without her eyeballs has a nervous breakdown. Facing him will be endless psychotherapy. Many years later, William was sent to the detention center. As a warning, this time he and his partner Hannah, in charge of leading a group of juvenile offenders through labor reform. On the bus on the way, unscrupulous young people cause conflicts. Because of beautiful women, William may be missing an arm, but with a strong aura, the focus is quickly suppressed. This time, the labor camp is an abandoned hotel. Just clean it up. All can have their sentences reduced by 1 month. The person in charge here, she's a kind-hearted old lady. He told them it was haunted. You have to be very careful. And this group of teenagers and girls who are not afraid of the sky and the earth, I don't seem to believe it at all. Mike was assigned to clean the toilet, but he didn't notice in the hole a pair of eyes is staring at Jane on the other side of her knee, and highly feel that they can take this opportunity, leave the detention center forever. However, you can't get down to such a high floor at all. The only exit was blocked by William again. On the other side, Blackie and Becky are holding the blueprints, going to search for treasure because they had heard that there had been a burglary ring hidden the stolen money here. Suddenly, they're in a corner full of trash. The body of a police officer was found. When you see a dead body without eyeballs, only 2 terrifying blood holes. The wolf under the stone is fleeing. The 2 got separated on the way just as Becky was looking for the exit. I didn't notice the elevator door slowly opening behind me. A figure appears. Little Black, who witnessed it with his own eyes, fled immediately, and Hannah, who heard the voice, thought the prisoner was hiding again, so I went to check. She pushes the elevator floor, but the elevator goes up uncontrollably. Took her directly to the 8th floor where she shouldn't have gone. Hannah closes the elevator doors again, then a mosquito flew in as she repels mosquitoes, but I didn't care about the hands stretched out in the dark. Jenny, on the other side, tried to pry open the ventilation duct to escape. However, instead of prying it open, I also stumbled to the ground because of my cunning. After he gets up, I found a secret passage slowly opening. He wanted to go check it out, but a figure slowly emerged from inside. He tried to escape, but it was too late. When the crowd hears the sound, the tunnel is closed. William tried to open it, but to no avail. Asked the person in charge of the hotel and learned that the secret passage is the delivery port. Connect to the upstairs kitchen. William took the black girl in the elevator to go upstairs. Black girl hidden floor. William accidentally found blood on his arm. The black girl wiped it with her hands. The blood is getting more and more. The 2 looked up. I saw that the password had already been written on the ceiling of the elevator. The 2 quickly left the electricity. I happened to meet Xiaohai when I went out of the ladder. Black described to them the horror of the butcher. Tell the 2 the characteristics of the butcher. William listened. Sure to attack everyone. The same person who chopped off his arm 4 years ago, and he had already run the butcher wild. Why are you still alive today? True or false? 4 years ago, he was able to shoot a butcher. You can do it now. William ignored the persuasion of the 2, decided to resume the butcher alone. Suddenly, after a few gunshots lost dual purpose, William fell from the ceiling. Black girl for self-defense took William's pistol. Jenny, on the other side, wakes up, find yourself locked in an iron cage. This is hell on earth, surrounded by body parts and limbs and bodies without eyeballs. Becky, who passed out, was also hung here, and then the butcher comes back. However, he did not kill Jenny. Instead, he turned towards Becky, who was hung up. He ignored the other party's heartbreaking struggle. He actually cut off Becky's shadow alive. Then take Jenny, go to the bedroom. A young couple on the other side is playing a game. Due to too much movement, touched a wire. At the same time, the bell in the butcher's room rings. Butcher, hearing the voice, I'm not in the mood to play games with Jenny. The little couple suddenly heard a movement from the mirror. Guys, go check it out. Turns out it's a double-sided mirror, just as he was wondering. Suddenly, the 2 immediately ran into a room. Although the butcher can't get in for the time being, but you have to find a way to save yourself. But there was no way out of the window. The boy tied the girl with a rope. The girl climbed down the window, so little by little the boy loosened the rope and put him down. At first it went well, until the girl couldn't help looking down. The tent 0 meters below his feet terrified him. He asked his boyfriend to drag him up. I didn't think of myself really being dragged up quickly when you were about to reach the window, so he realized it was the butcher who was dragging him. Oh, the girl was hung upside down at 10 meters. A wicked smile appeared in the butcher's eyes after seeing it all. Due to the insufficient length of the rope, the girl is half a meter away from the ground and upside down. The leg bone was dislocated and fractured due to dragging. I was covered in glass. Blood is flowing. The blood attracts the wild dogs to lick it. A howl of wild dogs attracts more dogs. The girl was finally dismembered and taken away. And upstairs, the butcher plucked out the girl's boyfriend's eyeballs and left on the other side. Mike and Mary are looking for company. Suddenly I bought it. The two quickly ran to a room to hide. The butcher starts looking room by room. He found a door that couldn't be opened. Make sure the other party is hiding here, and they broke down the door. Searched through the room, however he searched under the bed and couldn't find any corner, so the butcher went out of the room. Suddenly he heard a cell phone ringing. Immediately walk into the room, open the cabinet door and find that you were answering the phone. Looking at each other's terrified and desperate appearance, Butcher gave a bloody smile again. He grabbed Mary and stood on the counter. Originally planned to deal with him directly and eat the eyeballs, but the butcher was full. The phone rings again. Butcher picks up the phone and puts it in his mouth. Mary was eventually drowned alive by her cell phone on the other side. The black girl heard the sound and immediately shot. Luckily missed. It wasn't the butcher, it was Mike. By this time, the elevator has come to their floor. The three immediately prepared their weapons and were ready to go, waiting for the elevator door to open. The two immediately ducked into the elevator viewing door. Butcher with an axe splits the controller, and then one by one, they started hacking the doors. Seeing the door about to be split open, Black found the one in window above the elevator. The moment the butcher came in, the two climbed up. Butcher tries to catch up, but it was electrocuted by Xiaohai's stun stick. They arrived at the restaurant. It's full of money and human corpses. Black is very excited. The treasure you have been searching for is here, but now the priority is to save your life first. As they search for an exit, they found Jenny in captivity. Black girl wanted to open the cage and rescue Jenny, but Blackie heard the butcher coming back. The two had no choice but to hide. Just as the butcher stared at Jenny with lust, a sudden sound came not far away. It was Xiaohai who broke the bottle. Distract from the east while the butcher goes out to find 10 black girls meet back to rescue Jenny. The butcher found Blackie hiding behind the safe when Xiaohai was electrocuted to convulse all over his body. Dildo pushes a safe, weighing thousands of caddies, and they hit him. Little Black was smashed into meat puree like this. The black girl at this time has no key, slowly picking the lock. Suddenly, I heard footsteps immediately hit. It's the hotel manager. Jenny thought she was safe, and that's when the butcher comes in. I thought the administrator was going to die, but I didn't expect the butcher to be reprimanded by the administrator. It turned out that the butcher was his son. Knowing that his son is born with supernatural powers, but intellectually dangerous, so it attracts people here. Feed your son. Originally this time it was to attract William. Avenge my son. For 4 years ago, I didn't expect so many extra gains. The admin told the butcher to kill Jenny immediately, but the butcher remembered being abused as a child. I couldn't bear it for a while and threw the other party out. Then the butcher took Jenny away to rescue a companion. Black girl looking for a gun finally found the butcher of the brain swing machine in the bedroom. Husband and Jenny. He grabbed 2 girls. Then I threw away the beautiful needles. Get ready to knock off the black girl's eyeballs. Fortunately, Mike arrived in time. The two quickly scuffled. Mike broke the butcher's leg with a stick. By time for the 2 girls to leave, then he hit the butcher on the head stick by stick. Finally stabbed the butcher directly in the back of the head. Gunshot wound. 4 years ago, the wound is full of maggots. 3 people hide in a room. The butcher stumbled over. He thought the other party had jumped out of the window and escaped at this moment. The 3 people hiding behind the door began to move. Loser was smashed into meat mud. Wild dogs, attracted by the smell of blood, I didn't call my partner this time. Instead, it is marked on the eye hole where the wooden stick was poked into the eyeball. I thought it was dead. Staff took his body to the morgue, however. It is this move the entire morgue is facing extinction today, a staff member Emmy's birthday, and when he got to work, there was no one there. Meanwhile, the morgue was empty. Looks eerie. He had to go to work in the morgue alone, and suddenly it turned out to be a birthday party his colleagues threw for him. As the curtain is drawn, the morgue has been turned into a miniature bar. Several people celebrate Emmy's birthday. Gathered after 30 years of drinking, Nina arrived at the morgue with a mustache. I heard that there is a murderer who massacred more than a dozen people here. When you see the butcher's true face, Nina is very excited, but it immediately piqued his interest, so he played a game with the mustache in the morgue. After 2 minutes, the sweaty Nina suddenly realized the butcher's body is gone. The two immediately got up to check. Sudden power outage in the morgue. They struck a match, but a biting chill came from behind. The butcher's tall body was standing behind them. Nina screamed and fled the morgue. In panic, the resurrected butcher is looking at his mother's body in grief. Mustache wants to take this opportunity to leave, however. He did not escape the eyes of the butcher. The mustache was strangled to death, and in the morgue, all kinds of dissection tools became the butcher's killing weapon. After he picked his weapon, he began the bloodbath. The blonde uncle on the other side noticed that the two had not returned, so I pushed the wheelchair to find it. Unexpectedly, I bumped into the terrifying butcher. He immediately turned the wheel and fled, but how can I escape the butcher's deadly hook? On the other side, Amy and the others heard screams, immediately come to the morgue to check. The butcher's body was found missing, and there's blood all over the corner of the cooler. Open it up. The body of the companion mustache suddenly lay in it. The three of them screamed in shock. The morgue suddenly lost power. What you should do now is call the police. But due to the peculiarities of mortuary work, everyone has to lock their phones before going to work. Call after get off work. The three had to each take a weapon for self-defense, then go find someone else to hang out with. But the blonde uncle's body was found in the hallway. Then the three continued their search for a living companion. Suddenly, a man crashed into the door. It's injured Nina. He told three people, it's because of what I did with the mustache. The butcher was resurrected and describes the horror of the butcher. Amy is speechless, but the top priority is to get out of here. Jeff on the other side noticed a power outage. Go check the line. The meter was found to have been destroyed with force. He knows the seriousness of the matter immediately. Go to take the employee's mobile phone. Call the police. If you accidentally fall to the ground where he looked down to pick up the key, I noticed a tall figure in front of me. Jeff narrowly escaped the butcher's attack. 4 people on the other side because the elevator was out of power, so take the stairs, but the staircase door has been opened, and this is when Jeff, fleeing in a panic, arrives. Immediately open the door with the key and join the crowd. I thought it was safe for the time being. Jeff takes off his coat, dodged again, and they ran around. David and Amy hide in an office locked room. Jeff and Nina hide in a morgue. One is hidden behind the freezer. Another pretended to be a corpse in an attempt to deceive the butcher. And after a girl got separated from the crowd, I came to the bathroom. In a panic, he ducked in the women's toilet. Think the butcher is afraid to come in. That's how the girl's cervical spine was broken alive. The butcher continued his bloody slaughter. Amy looked back here, found the butcher right outside the window. The two squatted down immediately. Fortunately, the butcher didn't find it. They stick their heads out. The butcher is getting closer to Nin. I think the butcher looked down at Nina with dead eyes. Amy screamed, attracted the butcher. Nina is ready to flee as soon as possible. Most of Nina's neck was chopped off, blood gushing out. He became the butcher's ghost. 3 people immediately broke the window and escaped from the room, but I didn't expect David at the end. Being out of the wall by the butcher, the two immediately scuffled, but he's no match for the butcher. He was strangled by the butcher. Over your head at the last moment of life, David told the two to leave quickly, then take out the scalpel in your pocket. Stab the butcher in the shoulder. Butcher pulls out scalpel. David loses his resistance. Amy and Jeff on the other side. The body of the companion was found bound by chains. The scene makes people's back cold, and then David screams. Amy ignored Jeff's resistance. He insisted on going back to rescue his comrades. He took a handful. Fire axe comes to morgue in response to screams. Just found David, who was dying with tape on his mouth. The moment Amy rips the tape, David's about to stop. Then he split the chainsaw under the bed in half. The butcher turned the bed first and appeared in front of the two. Amy threw the axe up angrily, but they were all easily dodged by the butcher. The butcher grabbed his axe and they hit him with the chainsaw. Jeff, to save Amy, his own shoulder, was killed by a chainsaw. A deep opening. The two fled immediately. They came to an iron gate. Jeff opened the door with the key. The alley and before the butcher is about to catch them. Then the two went to the infirmary. Amy helped Jeff stop the bleeding first, and he found out a window in this room connects to the outside. This window Amy can get out of, but not necessarily the injured Jeff, so Amy had to go out and find the police first. After he caught out, Jeff waited quietly for the police to arrive, but soon Amy crawled back because the butcher is patrolling the house. The two immediately hid behind the window, but the butcher still found out. The two planned to take advantage of the butcher outside, using the time difference to escape from the morgue. Can suddenly butcher step Amy through the wooden door, and he opens the door. Jeff could only reluctantly leave Amy. Butcher chased after them. Slowly, Jeff comes to the infirmary and locks the door. He was devastated by the loss of all his companions, determined to fight the butcher to the death. When the butcher breaks in, he was hiding in the corner, ready to go. In the face of absolute power, Jeff still loses, dying to die. He lay on the ground just as the butcher was about to take care of him. Jeff took the opportunity to pick up the needle for injecting the embalming fluid. When the butcher confronted him, he shoved it into the butcher's thigh. Then turn on the switch. Preservative fluid is constantly being injected into the butcher's body. Fill the butcher's veins blue until the blood squeezes out of the eye hole. Then the blood in the body is completely replaced with blue. The embalming fluid and blood flow out of the eye hole. Together the butcher finally fell to the ground. Wait until the preservative is used up. The butcher also stopped convulsing. Jeff thought he had finally escaped. He staggered out of the morgue, planning to drive away, but in the reflection of the car glass saw a terrifying figure.